Before we left government, we introduced a turnaround strategy for COCOBOD, and we worked on this with the IMF. This strategy was intended to comprehensively restructure COCOBOD. What is happening today in the cocoa sector is not surprising to us because this government has failed to implement the COCOBOD turnaround strategy. That is why COCOBOD is facing these challenges. I heard that the minister is directing to move the cost of cocoa roads to the Ministry of Roads. This measure was in the strategy, the turnaround strategy that we handed over to them. It took them 1 year. They have not implemented it. Only because there is now crisis in the cocoa sector, the minister has rushed to announce this measure, which the minister was well informed about in the strategy for turning around COCOBOD, which we handed over to them. They were also supposed to legislate a transparent pricing policy for cocoa. They have not done that. They were to remove some cost items which tend to reduce the producer price of cocoa, which we thought were unnecessary and in some cases duplicative. They have not done that. They were supposed to get COCOBOD to move away from non-core businesses and also to improve on efficiency and reduce cost, particularly in procurement. They have not done that. And so as far as we are concerned, this NDC government did not need to announce any new strategy for restructuring COCOBOD. And as we expected, they could not announce any comprehensive strategy for restructuring COCOBOD. If they implemented the strategy that we handed over to them, COCOBOD will not be in this mess. I am even surprised that the IMF is sleeping over this. Because we developed this strategy in consultation with the IMF as a requirement, one of the requirements for implementing the IMF program. I'm really surprised that the IMF has gone to sleep on this. And this government is recklessly managing the cocoa sector, which has brought us to this unprecedented crisis in the sector. A bailout would have been necessary, particularly at the time we are told that the economy is strong and resilient. They said they are better managers of the economy. An economy that is better managed cannot pay cocoa farmers. An economy that is better managed reduces the producer price of cocoa. And so Ghanaians can see the deception and the narrative that the NDC government brought to them about our government, the previous MPP government, as having badly managed the economy. Ghanaians can now see who is better managing the economy. Ghana's cocoa is now considered more expensive. And this has been confirmed by the CEO of COCOBOD, my friend Randy Abe. And therefore, consumers are turning away from Ghana's cocoa, as a result of which demand for Ghana's cocoa has fallen. The reasons for this are not far-fetched. We warned this government about the reckless overvaluation of our currency. We warned them several times that these dollars they are pumping and pumping into the economy, that reckless intervention. Last year alone, they intervened to the tune of 10 billion United States dollars. The trend has continued. That reckless overvaluation of our currency will affect our economy. Because those of you who understand economics know that when you overvalue your currency, it adversely affects the export competitiveness of your country. And so, is it surprising that the competitiveness of cocoa on the global market is reducing? Is it surprising? Because this government thought that managing an economy is by pumping dollars to shore up the city. And now this is the effect. Overvaluation, when your currency appreciates unreasonably, as we are seeing, your exports suffer. Rather, what you see is promotion of imports. And so more imports are coming into our economy. Our exports are losing value on the international stage. And increasing imports will only come to reduce the domestic production base because it will affect domestic production of goods and services.